welcome back to Why So Serious, a Nerd podcast. We got some really exciting trailers to talk about, well, one in particular, and a couple other pretty good trailers. Then we're going to get into some other fun, nerdy questions, but before we do all that, let's get into our social media account, which is at Why So Serious Pod, so go ahead and give us a follow, subscribe, like, interact, comment. We want to get a lot more comments onto these episodes, and interact with you guys on here live, so feel free to reach out. We've been covering all the regular nerd stuff. We've got a Fantastic Four comic review out, the Dark Reign era, Volume 1 of the Hickman run, our Weekend Geeks covering new nerd news. We've been covering Andor. We've been covering The Last of Us. A lot of great stuff coming out lately, so check it all out, and thanks for joining us today. But for trailers, we had Superman, we had Ironheart, we had Spiderman Noir. I guess that's happening. And then we also had Peacemaker Season 2. So a lot of great stuff to get into. And let's get into Superman first. I think that one kind of blew me out of the water. This came out. How did you like the teaser trailers, David? And how did this trailer work for you compared to those teasers earlier?
So first teaser was a nice little look into it. Didn't really get me stoked, but we saw the Superman outfit. We saw little glimpses of is it the JLA? Sorry. Is it?
I think JSA.
JSA, there you go. I knew that didn't feel right. We saw brief glimpses of all that stuff, so it got my interest. We got the 5-minute special presentation released after that. That one didn't really add anything for me. So I think this trailer that just came out has gotten me the most hyped out of all of it. I didn't know how I felt about this. Again, we've said it a ton. I'm not a big Superman fan, and I really like Man of Steel. So I didn't know what I was going to feel with this. I still don't, but coming out of this trailer, I don't know, dude. It's got the same score that I talked about, but it's such a great score. It's just a musical track, but it invokes this epic but also wholesome and hopeful feeling to it. And I think that's exactly what they're going for Superman. And I think it knocks it out of the park. So I already trust in this score, and the score makes a big deal for me with these things. Lex Luthor looks great in this new trailer. I am really digging him. I think he's going to be a really solid piece here, played by, I forgot his name.
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult, that was on it. And I think I'm going to like the way they use Mr. Terrific. Bro, I have no confidence in all of the things I'm saying right now. Is it Mr. Terrific?
Yeah.
All right.
You're doing great.
Thanks. I think I'm going to really like how they utilize him, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern. I didn't know exactly what to expect with that. It felt like a lot for just a Superman start-off movie for a universe, but I think I'm really going to like the way it's used. And even the CGI of the monster kaiju, I love the way it looks and feels. It looks so real, but it looks like it's shot in its own special way that's not the same as all the Marvel shots. The cinematography looks very unique, and it just looks fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, the cinematography does look different, huh? The way he is, surviving through flames. And yeah, a lot of these pictures felt pretty unique. And yeah, the CGI was incredible. I really don't like that there's a damn kaiju in there. I don't really want to see Spider-Man fighting Godzilla, but it is what it is. I'm sure that's going to be insignificant, but it looked so good. It looked like a real damn monster.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. So this trailer was incredible. I think the Superman character, I wasn't a huge fan of Superman years before this, but been reading some comics and I like it. And I'm starting to understand why he is a character. Why is he so overpowered? And they do it because he is such a good person, a good human being. He always does the right thing with all that power, which is kind of contradictory to what would probably happen to a normal human that got all that. If they came under all that power, talking's hard still, they probably wouldn't be that good. So that's kind of the point of Superman. He's like a perfect human being, someone we should all strive to be, but it's because he has the most power out of anybody, yet he still decides to be a good person. And this trailer did that so well, how angry he got. I loved the opening scene of that interview, or that trailer. I loved how they just made it an interview. I thought that was unique and it felt special. I already feel connected to these characters, but he got so mad when he said, people are going to die. I don't care about the bureaucratic red tape and all that stuff. I'm going to go help these people. That's so Superman, dude. And I thought that was incredible. And then the Green Lantern, dude, I like how we only got a little shot of that, but that hand coming out of the ground, they're using those Green Lantern powers. Really cool, and that's tough, I think. They have such a high ceiling of power. So many things you could do with that thing. Literally, your imagination is the only barrier there. But so that was cool seeing them. Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, man, we're seeing her in The Last of Us, and she's incredible. I'm excited to see her in Hawkgirl, see her as Hawkgirl. But man, I thought this trailer, I think this movie is going to be really good, man. A generational, it didn't have a comedy beat like that last 5-minute trailer thing. It was more of a clip,
had a couple.
that droid that said he looked at me or talked to me was ridiculous. I thought right after a different droid made a comment how they lack emotion and they don't need thank you.
Yeah.
So no comedy in this trailer. That was the one thing that really worried me, besides the kaiju, to be honest, was that comedy beat. I don't want too much Guardians of the Galaxy 2 level comedy in a Superman movie. I need it to be Guardians 3 level at most. But man, I think this movie is going to be good, and the trailer was incredible.
Dude, and so with Green Lantern, you got to remember too, this is the first time they're going back to Green Lantern live action since the tragedy that was Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. So this is the first. It was terrible for DC as a whole. It was terrible for everybody who was involved in that project, and this is the first time we're going to see a Lantern. Well, okay, we briefly saw it in the the Dark Side flashback in Justice League. Briefly, we saw Green Lantern fighting, but really, this is going to be the first time we get one of those characters brought back on the screen. So there's even stuff riding on that, which I think they're going to do good, though, as goofy as Guy Gardner looks. I'm very curious to see how creative they get with it, because we've seen stuff, sometimes the Green Lantern powers are just boiled down to, they used a big fist instead of his normal fist, instead of being like Adam Eve in Invincible season 3. I know this is kind of a sidetrack, but she has the power to manipulate atoms and to create all of this stuff. She has these insane powers, and for the entire season 2 and 3, all she did was create large boxes and hit people with it, or created a wall of pink and hit people with it. And it's like, you have such a open canvas for creative powers to be used there, and you just keep making her create walls to hit people with. So I hope they don't do that with Green Lantern. I hope we see some really cool creative kind of stuff, even though it's not his movie. He's not going to be in it that much, I don't think. But there's just so much opportunity for all these little tidbits with these characters. Not even talking about Lex Luthor yet. I mean, it's so much potential in a movie.
I couldn't agree with you more with the Green Lantern powers, dude. It's like the Flash, man. How can you possibly explain why the Green Lantern couldn't just have conjured 10 spiky stakes and destroyed his enemy? Anything at all. There shouldn't be an issue if you could just think up anything, like a bubble and a nuke inside the bubble, anything. So that'll be tough. You got to get creative. I liked the hand coming out of the ground. It was powerful. It was easy to him. He didn't break a sweat doing that. So I was like, okay, I think they're in the right direction. Yeah, I think he'll play a very similar character to the one he did in Guardians 3. That funny, he was kind of a comedy beat, but it worked really well. He was really funny. Hey, we got one of those guys too. Oh, God. Yeah, that is the same actor. So Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion. Yeah.
I think it'll be similar because I think they're corporate superheroes that are. I think Superman's gonna show them how to be a proper hero for justice, and I think by the end they're gonna quit the LexCorp or Maxwell Lord Corp or whatever corporate situation they're in, and Superman's going to lead them the right way. I think that's what's going to happen with them, because they seem too douchey and too police, in their uniforms and doing weird stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, they seem like Vought Industries from the boys. Yeah, I'm excited.
So Lex Luthor, did you, Nicholas Hoult, I know that some people aren't sold. I'm sold now. I was kind of sold in the beginning because he's a solid actor, but what did you think of his presence in the trailer?
I think, so we saw glimpses of it. The look looked good. But him kind of strolling into the Fortress of Solitude in these clips, and the gravitas and the confidence that he has I think he totally has that Lex Luthor feel, because there's that arrogance, that cockiness, that he knows he's smarter than everybody kind of feel to it. And in just the few clips we saw of it, it looked like Nicholas Hoult had that vibe going on. So I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that scene. Him invading the Fortress of Solitude, just looking so confident and calm while he's doing it with the engineer right there, one of the major authority players right there next to him.
I was going to ask who that was. Okay, that's the engineer.
And then it looks like the scene we got with Krypto playing with him too much in the snow and Superman is hurt. It looks like that's the fight right after the engineer and that weird Juggernaut-looking dude, which I don't know anything about that character.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It looks like that's where they get into a big fight with them. Lex Luthor sends his goons, and then he ends up where that trailer starts. But man, so excited! Compare this movie, Superman. We got the trailer; it's coming out soon. Name a single movie or two you've been more excited to see after seeing a trailer in the past few years.
Ooh,
maybe that's Fantastic Four. Maybe that was Thunderbolts. I don't know.
Dune 2 trailer got me pretty hyped. Outside of that, there was something else. There was another trailer that really got me hyped, but I can't think about it right now. It wasn't Thunderbolts. It wasn't Cap 4. Maybe it'll come to me in a bit. But other
Great
than
trailer
Dune
still.
2,
Great trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a minute, though, that I have uncertainty but hope.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. July 11th, I think, something like that. Just a month and a half away. And let's move on to the next few trailers. Let's move right into Peacemaker. Speaking of Guy Gardner, my God, there's going to be some serious connective tissue here with James Gunn is going to go all out with season 2, I think. I feel like he was under a lot of studio interference with Peacemaker season 1, and it made a great season. I'm not complaining, but he's the leader of the whole studio now. He could do whatever he wants. He's already got Green Lantern and Hawk Girl in that show. We know Frank Grillo's in that show, and we saw Frank Grillo in the Superman trailer. So a lot of connective tissue, but it's also James Gunn. We know this season 2 is going to be amazing, but I think it's going to be better, dude. I think it's going to be super nerdy lore. Like, he's going to do Easter eggs and all kinds of stuff. I can't wait.
I think it's going to have more interconnective tissue for sure than the DCEU. Even though the DCEU had a few references here and there, and obviously you had the funny ending with the Justice League. But overall, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more fun connections and winks and nods in this. I forgot we saw Frank Grillo in the Superman trailer, which is awesome because that is a big aspect I'm really looking forward to for Peacemaker here. I think in the right role, Frank Grillo can play a really, really good character. And I think Rick Flag Sr. is a great role for him. I think that's right up his alley. And this whole system, the way they start out with Peacemaker interviewing with the JSA and gets declined, and the whole feel to the trailer felt like season 1. Season 1 was just fun. It's just a fun watch. It's a fun rewatch. The clips are freaking hilarious, and it felt like we had the exact same feeling in this trailer here. So I have nothing but positive hopes for this coming forward. I can't wait for it to drop. I can't wait to. We're going to see, Rick Flag Sr. Obviously, his son was killed by Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. So there's stuff to dive into there. I don't know what the main conflict is going to be, but I'm stoked on this. It makes me too. I really got to watch Creature Commandos so I can get my Rick Flag Sr. on and get a little bit of backstory on him because that's really cool. He's obviously a big part of the whole DCU, it seems.
I think he's bringing something special to the DCU. Marvel kind of shafted him. I wanted more from Crossbones. You kind of created a really cool villain, like even just the design and like how it happened in the Winter Soldier. It was a really cool, and then he was gone. So DC's going to treat him right. But yeah, man, I'm in love with the character after Creatures Commandos. He's not a villain, so it's going to be complex. I don't know if he really wants to take Superman down. His beef is with Peacemaker, so it is weird that he's in Superman. You got to wonder if John Cena's going to show up in the Superman movie. But I can't wait to see what they do with Frank Grillo, man. Just like a grounded, angry, motivated human that's kind of, who can you compare him to in the MCU? Non-powered, but, lethal. It's, they might not have it. But anyway, he's gonna kill it.
Yep.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know what this season 2, I don't know what this season's going to be about or anything. I couldn't tell you anything. I remember Hawk Girl. I remember this is John Cena and James Gunn, so I know I'm going to like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't even care what it's about. I know it's going to be good. So I'm excited to see, but I'm not worried about what the plot is because I totally trust it. And the last thing I'll say about it is I'm really glad that they didn't wipe season 1 from continuity. There was talks that season 1 was not going to be DCU canon, and then we learned that they would be carrying over not every aspect of it, but some of the DCU aspects will be canon now in the DCU. So I'm glad they did that, and I think with a comedy series, it's a lot easier to do that because you can literally rewrite something off with just like a joke and be like, all right, well, whatever, it's Peacemaker. They, that's not canon. They could even break the fourth wall if they wanted to as far as explaining things. But I'm just glad that what we saw in season 1 is officially canon for season 2. I'm glad they didn't ditch it.
All right, anything else on that one before we move on to Marvel's trailers?
That'll do it for me.
All right. I forgot the cold open. Anyway, we're getting into Marvel trailers now. Icebreaker. Let's break into Marvel real quick. So we got the Sentry coming into Thunderbolts. Pretty powerful. So I want to ask you, Dave, what your thoughts are on the MCU Thanos versus Sentry? No MCU Infinity Gauntlet.
Thanos. I mean, I think with what we saw, I would go Sentry on my first thing there. Guy is pretty insanely powerful as Sentry, and then if he wants to flip to the Void and send Thanos to therapy, I mean, probably be good for Thanos. But no, I'd take Sentry. It'd probably be pretty deep to show how he got to this point.
You could do a great scene with that. My God. I still think the Doctor Doom wants the Void now. But then Sentry versus Hulk. That's easy because we saw what Thanos did to Hulk. So Power Gem. That's
fair.
All it was.
Yeah.
I guess
that's a weird one.
We're going to have to see that on screen, though. With how powerful that made Sentry, you're going to have to show us Throwdown with the Hulk. You're just going to have to. It's kind of a status quo. If you're entering the Marvel Universe, you have to have it's like a gang initiation.
Rite of passage.
You have to fight one of us first.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, hopefully
well,
we see
anyway,
something.
yeah, it was interesting. I think I would take Sentry too. But anyway, not really MCU, but Spider-Man has a new trailer, and that's freaking crazy because it's Spider-Man Noir. And guess who the lead actor is? You guessed it, it's Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man. Because naturally. So, Dave, did you watch it?
I did. I didn't like come away with a lot. I can't believe it's happening, first off. I still cannot believe that this is really a thing. As soon as I heard Nick Cage's voice, I did laugh. I let out a laugh. I just can't help it. Nick Cage is freaking hilarious, and it's just it worked for animation with his voice because he was almost a joke in itself as a character, as Spider-Man Noir and into the Spider-Verse. So I don't know. No, I have no idea what to expect. I think it's got some potential to be some cool nods, like, you know, Noir style Scorpion or Doc Ock and stuff like that. It could be pretty creative. I don't know if they've really dove much into that in the comics. I would imagine they have. But yeah, I mean, it was only 30 seconds, so there wasn't a ton of stuff that I pulled away with. But more than anything, I just still can't believe it's happening.
So I don't know anything about Spider-Man Noir, but I just asked ChatGPT because we talk about comics, and I say, would I like Spider-Man Noir comics? Because there's one, they're reprinting it. It's just 12 issues. There's one complete collection. There's a pretty designated story for Spider-Man Noir, not a ton of continuity that you got to dive into. And it said, based on your preferences, dark, mature stories, moral complexity, revenge themes, atmospheric storytelling, you very likely would enjoy Spider-Man Noir comics. ChatGPT's pretty honest. It kind of knows me. It knows me well. It says setting is dark and gritty, 1930s New York, filled with crime, corruption, very moody tone, obviously more noir detective story than a superhero comic. Moral ambiguity, Peter's origin and actions are more violent and reactive. He's not the idealist we usually see. He even uses guns. Brutal villains and payback. Villains like Norman Osborn and others are truly sinister, and there's a sense of satisfaction when they face consequences, not unlike The Punisher or Under the Red Hood vibes, just more pulp. Not sure how pulp, I don't know what that means. Art style, shadowy, heavy, noir look. Not ultra detailed like Gary Frank or Van Sciver, the kind of shit we like, but it fits the tone. So anyway, it sounds like it's supposed to be dark and mature, but it seems kind of weird still.
Yeah. I'm looking for the rating. I was very curious to see if it was going to be TV-14. I mean, I'm sure they're not doing TVMA. It's Spider-Man regardless. But
the difference is Amazon has full control of this creation, which is weird. Which is really weird. So maybe they are doing something more adult.
I'm trying to see. I mean, it comes out, 2026? I think we got some time before it drops. But
if you consider the superhero movie world is becoming way darker, we got more rated R stuff, and we have so many Spider-Man iterations, we already have our animated side. They might want to do an adult of like a very adult Spider-Man story, a different studio. That's what the story background sounds like. So maybe there's potential. But I'm with you. Yeah. It feels weird. Feels off. Something doesn't feel right about this. Like Superman is Nicolas Cage. I mean, in The Flash. Oh, hey. It was fun, but it felt weird.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a whole lot of expectations, but I'll definitely throw it on just because I'm curious to see what the hell they're doing.
Curiosity, I'm definitely throwing it on. But yeah, I don't expect to love it, but I would love to be blown away. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, was that the last trailer?
Ironheart.
Oh, Ironheart. Okay, let's get into Ironheart. No, I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think the trailer was terrible, but, we've, this is a Chapek era film for you guys, Chapek era Marvel, pretty mediocre. This is the last one they shot. I will say I loved the beginning of it. I loved the weird elevator scene. That was fun and unique and cool and very much fit the character. Like, that was a fun obstacle. That seems just fun and tense. I would love to watch that on the screen, but of course, it was the plan. I was excited for her to take a completely different route to solve this problem. I was excited for her to figure it out that way, but that was a part of the plan the whole time. And then, what's his name from Cap 4, right? Was that the guy?
No.
Where was he from?
He's been in some other stuff. I don't know. He hasn't been in the MCU before, but that's Anthony Ramos. So that's Parker Robbins.
I thought he was in the MCU.
No, he looks like Falcon a little bit. Well, kind of, but no, this will be his first entry in the MCU. That's the Hood. Yeah. Yep.
I hate that iteration of the Hood. I like the actor, but that doesn't feel like the Hood. The Hood should be dark and sinister, but whatever. I didn't know that was the Hood. That's exciting that the Hood is in.
Yeah, we saw him with the double pistols at one point in the trailer, really briefly, which is kind of a his look as a Red Hood, double pistols. He uses dark magic and whatnot. So I think we are going to see, they just didn't show it there, and maybe they're just hiding it for people who don't know the Hood. But I think they will get dark with this because, again, remember, this is the show that was, even though this has happened many times, but a lot of people are saying confirmed that Mephisto is supposed to show up in this show.
Well, I think legit. I think that's legit, isn't
yeah,
it?
no, I think it is. I think it was cast as Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat.
That's right.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it confirmed that they're still in the series in the last 6 months or so, but that news did come out. So I do think we'll see the darker side of the Hood and the whole thing there, and I think that was just kind of a misleading teaser for his character. But overall, it looked fine. I mean, I'm not super stoked on it. The Ironheart suit still looked a little not my style by the end of it, that little reveal at the end. It looks better than Black Panther suit, but I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know how much Ryan Coogler's involved. I know he's the executive producer on this, but that could range from literally was there for 5 minutes to did a lot of work on it. So I don't know how much of that vibe is going to come from it. So I'm not super stoked on it. I don't expect it to be amazing, but the trailer wasn't bad. It got my curiosity.
Yeah, I've always been still a little excited for it because I liked her introduction in Black Panther 2, and I'm excited to see what they do with the magic and Hood stuff, but I am not excited about the Iron Man suit because she's talking about building something iconic, and it's nothing we haven't seen before. Everyone has an Iron Man suit. The Wakandans, like Falcon is half Iron Man. It's not special. It's not different. Hopefully they write something that makes it special or different somehow, but how at this point? We've already done the nanotech. We've had multiple different crazy black, like so many variations of Iron Man. She's not going to be that different, but that seems to be the theme of her motivation. So that is annoying. The Iron Man suit is now homogenized, it's not special anymore. So I'm just excited for the magic side, and I'm excited for any potential push forward for the MCU. We'll see.
Yeah. And well, this is a remnant of the Chapek era, the whole start to this, Riri Williams being introduced in the first place in the MCU. And, no offense, Anthony Ramos, but he has had a couple of stinker performances too in certain things. Not saying he's a bad actor, but just in probably about half the stuff I've seen him in, it was kind of corny-ish, cringy-ish.
Last.
Oh yeah, he wasn't bad in that.
I'm really not a fan of that actor. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is.
He was in Transformers, and I thought he was pretty goofy in that one. I forget which one it was. Rise of the Beast, maybe. So all I'm saying, the whole point of this is there is a lot of potential for it to be a bust and to not be great. But I'm hoping for the best. We'll see how much of the Chapek era still feels like it's in there.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up for trailers. That does it. A couple nerdy little questions here, though, to wrap it up. Probably not too much of your time, even though you just want to sit here and listen to us for another couple hours at least, I'm sure. Anyway.
Of course.
Curious what you would think of this, Dave. So X-Men's coming to the MCU, and I'm curious what you would think. What would your favorite, maybe, comic to adapt to the big screen, what that would be? What do you want to see from the X-Men, like as far as a storyline play out?
So I think I have two kind of really quick, easy ones, and the reason why I'm just going to throw them out is because we've kind of talked about this one multiple times, but I'm still sticking with it, and I want to at least put it out there for this. Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon. It's an issue that you, me, and Caleb actually covered, and I think it'd be great to bring into the MC, or great to be just adapted to the big screen. But again, I've talked about that. Another one too, House of M, which we can't really do it at this point in the MCU. I guess you could finagle a way to have an alternate reason of why this gets brought upon us. But man, I just think that would have been such a cool opportunity to bring to the big screen. But, again, unfortunately, it's kind of like Secret Invasion where I feel like you kind of missed that. Outside of those two that I've kind of already given, though, and sorry, I'm forgetting I just had it written down. If you want to give me yours first, then I'll bring up the last one I had.
Yeah, mine has always been the Hope Summers era with like the new modern X-Force being created. It was, that's right after House of Hope Summers was the first mutant born. You already know this, Dave.
Yeah.
But, so what's great about it, though, is like it's so important for the good guys to get hope because it gives them hope for the rest of mutant evolution. But then the bad guys want her for their own nefarious purposes. So you have like the Marauders who are coming after this child. So you could get into a lot of that kind of storytelling, which is really emotional and intense with them stopping this helpless child who's just a new mutant. But then, so Scott Summers, like I picture Captain America, I picture Chris Evans, but it's the same character except willing to make this strike force to go assassinate enemies called X-Force. And they, him developing that idea and then Beast, people finding out and talking about how bad that is, right? Because heroes aren't supposed to kill, all that stuff. But Scott Summers is such a G in that whole era. He's the leader of the X-Men. It's not Professor X. He's just such an excellent character. And it's so much like the Steve Rogers that we saw in the MCU. Just take away a little bit of the honorable righteousness and add a little bit of dark, willing to cross that line attitude, and it's so badass. So it's very climactic and stuff too. Hope Summers, we got some Phoenix Force. Well, that it builds up. That's kind of Avengers versus X-Men. That's a little too far. We couldn't pick Avengers versus X-Men on this one because we've talked about that a lot. That would obviously be one of the most cinematic, most fun X-Men things we could see. But yeah.
The one I had on there, and I don't know, I don't have a ton to back, but Grant Morrison's new X-Men, just another, I think with the MCU here, I think you're going to have a point where the mutants are at odds with humanity.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Yeah. And almost like House of M and Secret Invasions, you almost did it. You brought in Cassandra Nova. And you did Genosha with X-Men 97, which bums me out. We're not going to get that on screen, which sucks, because that's pretty damn epic and very dark. But the Utopia Island, they always have a new island, right? Krakoa, Utopia, Genosha. But the Thunderbolts, like Norman Osborn trying to shut that down, I really do see the whole thing, like you said, humanity's after them. It's going to be like a superhero registration for mutants. People are going to be scared of them. And the Avengers are going to be sent to shut them down, or the Thunderbolts. You think the Thunderbolts are actually going to last past Doomsday, like that team?
I don't. I kind of think it's almost a gimmick, the whole new Avengers thing. I think it's going to be a very short run, and it's going to be kind of the bridge into bringing the Avengers back. Because right now we don't have an Avengers team. We just don't. We have Cap. We've had word of we need to reform the Avengers in Cap 4. And I think the Thunderbolts were that placeholder right now. But I think they're going to assimilate into the full Avengers team. Not all of them. I don't think Red Guardian's going to make it. I think Red Guardian might die. Yeah. But I don't see him making the Avengers squad. But I could see Yelena, Bucky coming back.
Sentry,
U.S.
obviously.
Agent, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like U.S. Agent will too, because he's got the redemption arc. He's got the Jaime Lannister redemption arc going on here. So you know what? Maybe his redemption arc actually ends with a sacrifice and he's not in the Avengers, but he kind of, his last act is a Cap. This is totally not where we were going with this, but this theory just came out. I think John Walker, I think he's going to die after his redemption arc completes, and he's going to give a Captain America, Steve Rogers-esque sacrifice. He's going to make that sacrifice play that Bucky gave him crap about. Have you ever jumped on a grenade? You're not Steve Rogers. I think we're going to see John Walker make a Steve Rogers play.
This is good.
And give his life. So he won't be on the Avengers team. So that was kind of a sidestep thing.
He's too dead.
Yeah, he's as dead as any dead animal that ever died. So you gotta roll with it. But yeah, I think the new Avengers will be very brief. After Doomsday, I don't think they're gonna be a thing.
Yeah. Because I guess that was my question. Who fights first, X-Men and Thunderbolts or X-Men and Avengers? Because the whole new Norman Osborn thing was so close to what we're seeing on screen, and they were sent against the X-Men. But I don't think the Thunderbolts will last. Yeah. I think you're right on. They're going to just incorporate into the Avengers. And John Walker's going to make that sacrifice, man. I like that.
I'm seeing it. Might be a grenade. He might jump on it.
Yeah, I was wishing, so after Doomsday, clean slate, you might have Thor, you might have a character or two stick around, but dude, I really wish they would do this. A full phase of nothing but mutants. Cyclops has a movie, Storm has a movie, each individual mutant, the whole entire phase. And Avengers characters can pop in and out of that just like they always do, your Nick Fury type characters, but all the movies are X-Men characters, and then your X-Men movie would be their event film. But how sick would that be? A whole phase, you get all these origins, all this potential interconnective tissue, while everything builds up into becoming a team. That would be freaking awesome.
Dude, you totally could. It'd be worth it. And you could still pepper in Avengers here and there. The X-Men are running into other characters. They don't have to just be X-Men in its own universe. That's the point, right? Is you're bringing into the MCU. I would love for them to do that. And something that just came into my mind when you mentioned Storm here, I was going to say, I really hope we see the Storm relationship with Wakanda, with the character brought in the MCU. It's a big part of the comics. We've never seen it. And then my brain went to T'Challa is dead. Shuri is Black Panther now. No way they do a sex change with Storm and have him be a guy.
That would
and
be
he
wild.
has a relationship with Shuri, and we get the
Riots.
Wakanda Storm connection, and it's just the king of Wakanda now as Storm instead of the queen.
Riots in the streets. Riots.
You know, you could still keep him as a black man. You don't have to change all of it, but just switch it from a female to a male and have that Wakanda Storm relationship going on.
If you're going to
there.
go
It'd be
bold,
interesting.
just go with a girl-on-girl relationship. Shuri and Storm. They're married
That's
now.
true too. I mean, you might as well do that.
That'd be
And that's
legendary.
not really far off. So that's, maybe they do that. But I would like to see Storm's a cool character, and we just haven't got her fleshed out much on the screen at all. So
Yeah. It could be very cinematic. I want to see her on screen with Thor, who has bigger thunder.
But dude, no, you're totally right though. Scott fits the Captain America role of this whole Avengers team story being told, but it's the X-Men and Scott
Just a
is
little
his
more,
own
more
kinda-
morally complex, which I love.
Yeah, exactly. Even better. So it would be cool if they did that.
Yeah. All right. 2 super nerdy questions. This is just stupid nerdy, but I want to see what you come up with.
Oh yeah.
We're going to do a villain and
Okay.
a hero. What are we doing? We're going to do the single most powerful, formidable. Who's the single most powerful, formidable villain in all of comics?
Oh shoot. Okay, I'll do another one too. Mine's technically in comics, but it's not quite Marvel and DC.
I thought this was the first question. I built it up so much, but it was a simple question. But I am curious. I mean, who do you think? Like, just one villain out of all comics, movies too. I don't care. But who is the strongest villain? Like, you can't beat him. Formidable.
Oh, out of everything?
No Sauron. Get Sauron.
That's
out of
right.
Here. Get out of here.
I skipped to the next question. That's my bad. Yeah, just the single most powerful, formidable villain. Yeah, Sauron. I totally forgot to fill in this thing. I skipped right to the other one. Blank. I guess if you can't use a variant of the thing.
The Thing?
No, sorry.
A
That's
villain variant of the Thing.
Poor choice of words. Not the thing. I mean, I feel like I don't know comics as well. I mean, Darkseid's definitely up there as far as, but Galactus, I'm not thinking of the main one that's stuck in my brain right now, and I don't know why. Parallax probably up there pretty well.
I'd say Doctor Doom, bro. I just gotta
Reverse
go with
Flash.
Doctor
Okay,
Doom.
yeah.
I couldn't think
Yeah.
of a better answer. He just wins everything. He created his own universe. He became the emperor god of a universe. I couldn't justify anything else. Even Galactus, the original Secret Wars, Galactus eats a planet, but Doctor Doom just rewired his ship and sucked up all the energy of the planet, and so he became all powerful. And that trumps Galactus. He just figures everything out. He's like Batman. He's like super Batman.
Yeah,
Super
that's
magic
fair.
Iron Man Batman is just too much. You can't beat him.
He
I don't
has
think.
everything. Yeah, he's got the intelligence, the magic, the money, the everything. The guy runs his own country, becomes God Emperor Doom. I mean, so what about going even further, like Dormammu or the Beyonder or something like
The
that?
entities is where it always gets hazy.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Or
Anti-Monitor. I mean,
there was a villain responsible for Deceased. We thought it was Darkseid in the anti-life equation, and it turned out to be it was a completely different dark death entity thing. And it's just okay, where does it end? I guess
Mr. Mixapitolix, final answer.
Right, that one. Yes, he's supposed to be it. He's supposed to be the one. And then there's one for Marvel too, like the Man Above or something like that. The Man Below. That's just
Yeah. I think
apparently these are the 2 most powerful. Who the fuck knows who these are? Who cares? You can't. Why would I say Mr. Mixapitolix when I could just say Doctor Doom?
dude, it's Mr. Mixapitolix. All right, let's just put some respect.
Have
on
you
his
heard
name.
it? Have you ever heard the name on screen?
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I heard somebody say it, which is the only reason why I feel confident in saying that word. It's because I think I heard somebody say it and it's stuck in my head as Mixapitolix.
Yeah, anyway. All right.
But I like the Doctor Doom thing. Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah.
But last one, way more nerdy, like I promised the first one, which is super basic. But anyway, we're going to create the most powerful character, hero and villain. 2 heroes merged into 1 hero. 2 villains merged into 1 villain and make just the most powerful characters ever, but we cannot use Superman, Hulk, or Thor. I should put Wanda on there. I'm putting Wanda on there. Can't choose Wanda.
There you go. Okay. So, you want to do villains or heroes first?
Let's do villains. I still have to come up with mine.
Okay. Well, I'll start off here because I just thought of this combination. So it's Star Wars. It's not Marvel or DC here, but if you combined Palpatine and Vader into one being, I feel like it's unstoppable. I feel like Palpatine, with his manipulation and his planning and his just ingenious way of survival and strengthening himself and just having everybody do his bidding, and then you add in the raw power of Darth Vader, who's not maybe being tortured by Palpatine's contraptions and is actually fully physically able, like a Vader mixed with Palpatine being, rules the galaxy, never gets taken down. I don't see how you would stop that. So I love that concept of just thinking of being with both of their strengths being one person. That's just a scary ass villain right there. So that was my first pairing.
Hell yeah. I'm not going to use Doctor Doom either, because he's the most powerful. Obviously, I would say Doctor Doom and someone else, but nope. What was your villain again then? So it was
Vader and Palpatine.
Palpatine, that's
mixed
right.
into one.
Yeah, it's scary, but my villain will beat yours because it's Reverse Flash and Maxwell Lord, dude. That speed and that mind control. Game over. Sorry, dude.
So Maxwell Lord has mind control? Honestly, all I know is Wonder Woman 84, where he turns into a stone.
His big standout moment is he's powerful enough to control Superman, and he did that, and Wonder Woman had to fight him, and that's when no one could beat it. They couldn't do anything, so she snapped his neck. Boom. And it was a big controversy, public. It led up into Infinite Crisis. Favorite DC era ever. Everyone's morally complex. The whole era is amazing. So yeah, Maxwell Lord, super powerful to the point where she had to kill him, and that rippled through the DC comics for a couple of years.
Damn. Okay. I did have just another fun one thrown out there. Cassandra Nova and Juggernaut. Combine them two together.
Oh, that's a great one. That beats mine.
Absolutely unstoppable physicality, and then Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, I should have thought of Cassandra. That's way better than Maxwell. Anyway, hell yeah. All right, what's your hero?
All right, so I think this just, and we kind of got a brief glimpse of this, but you bring Batman, the strategy, the planning, the ingenuity, the fighting skills, everything, and just Batman himself, prep time, he wins everything. And you combine it, you give him a ring as a full-on experienced Green Lantern. You mix Green Lantern and Batman together. And you've got the guy who can plan anything out and now has an object that can create anything that this man who plans everything out can think of. I just think you ain't stopping him.
You know about the Dark Knight's Metal Green Lantern Batman, right?
No.
Oh, man. So the Dark Knight's Metal just has a bunch of different Batman who got the powers of different Justice League members from different universes, and the Batman Who Laughs brought them all together as villains, and one of them is a Batman Green Lantern, and his origin was sick because the Green Lantern ring didn't authorize lethal force, but he overrides the willpower with his own willpower that was more powerful than the ring to kill his parents' murderers as a kid. That one's drawn by Ethan Van Sciver, too. That issue is...
I'm looking at the drawing, and it's pretty... It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's
that one's good.
Scary.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed. Sweet.
God, I didn't consider all the Batman or like all those characters, but my villain, it's exactly the same. It's a Flash and Professor X. I just want speed and mind control. You can't beat that, dude. That fast. You can't.
No. I mean, Professor X, well, I guess you don't need to stop time when you can run so fast that it's like time has stopped.
He would be so fast in his wheelchair.
Oh my God, be speeding around. Indy 500 champ every year. Tell you what. Dude, that's an interesting combo. I like that. All right. Somebody make these things. Come on. Write them down. Make a story.
What was your hero again? Did you do it?
A Batman and Green Lantern. But
yeah, I know. I have hella good short-term memory. Anyway, that was fun. Trailers and nerd stuff, so let's go. Thanks for tuning into Why So Sidious. We're going to be covering the rest of Andor's. We've covered the first half. We're going to cover the second half very shortly here. Really, really solid Star Wars stuff. And what else? Superman's coming out. I don't know what else we're doing lately, but tune in. There's so much good nerd stuff, and it's going to be exactly what you like, so you're definitely going to want to tune in. Again, we're at Why So Sidious Pod on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And thanks again. We'll see you next time.